Welcome everyone in the room, but also watching the recording after this. This is the fourth How I Built This session already with creators and residents. Today, Prabjot Singh Lamba is joining us. He is working on Craftar and is going to show us how he automatically curates and generates newsletters with Craftar, his own tool, who is almost going to launch publicly. So exciting times there, and yeah, exciting to have you here, Prabjot. I already had a look at your tool. It's amazing, and you are, of course, a real data and automation wizard. So yeah, exciting to see how you do this.
Well, thank you so much, Harold, for so many kind words, and yeah, excited to be here. And creators and residents and 100 days of no code is just pushing the boundaries of education, and I think we need a lot of awareness. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here. So today we are going to, like Harold said, just automatically curate and generate newsletters and take away the pain of all the manual HTML, CSS, and all of that. Just you come up with an idea, think of a data, and then you have a newsletter ready. So I'll just share my screen.
It sounds like music for you, I think, Kat. I know you write a lot of newsletters. I know Colleen also sends the daily and some other newsletters.
Awesome. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. So before I start, so I'm Prabjot. I'm basically building Craftar. It's a no-code automation platform. And I like to call it factory because mostly an information factory, because you're building these pipelines which do one thing really well. And then you just keep on building till you are able to do more complex things. And I love automation, and because of that, one of the automations which I created was automatically generating newsletters. So this is the agenda for today. So first, what are we building? So like I said, we'll take data from product hunt automatically from the RSS feed. We'll run some logic to curate it based on algorithms. So we'll search for all the products that are no code or automation related. And then we'll generate our newsletter using those and then send it out using Mailgun. And finally, we'll also create a template on Mailchimp. So I'll explain and go into details how we do that, and we'll also build it from scratch. Awesome. So first, I'll just go to my showcase. So this is Craftar, and this is how our automation pipeline looks like, or automation factory looks like. So we have a block that gets data from product hunt RSS feed. So that is there. And then this is a NLP search block. So it's like a mini search engine on its own, this block. It basically, if you can see it, we search for automation and no code, and it'll automatically extract those products from it. Then we basically, this block creates the HTML of our newsletter. So it just takes in the data and generates the final HTML. This block sends out the email to all the participants. So that's one approach where you want to end-to-end automate. The other approach, which is also more sane, is before sending, you would want to see the HTML before you send. So for that, there's a different approach, which is you add a template to Mailchimp, and then you do the sending part inside Mailchimp, right? So those are the two different approaches. So first, let's just play and see what happens. So I'll just click on play. So we can see the data flowing through the wires. So our newsletter is generated and now it's being sent. Awesome. It's being sent, and now we are adding this to Mailchimp. So now I'll open my Gmail. So you can see we got a newsletter product hunt daily. And here we have all the latest products from product hunt, which somewhere mention no code or automation. And I can click on these and it'll take me to the product hunt page. And if I go to Mailchimp now, so I'll just refresh my templates. Awesome. So we have our template here. It's fully coded. You just have to now send it to your list in Mailchimp. And also it's more responsive. So if you change it to mobile, it works. Awesome. And we also automatically added logo, the subtitle, unsubscribe link, and all of that. Cool. So that's how the automation works. Now, before we go into actually building it from scratch and explaining, I'll have to explain a bit of how Craftar works. So it's like clear when I'm explaining those steps. So let me just do that first. So this is what you see when you go into Craftar, and all of these, like I said, are factories, and each factory is represented by a robot. So potentially you're just building a robot factory over time. So to start building any kind of API or automation, you just click on this button, create new API. We'll create one called as joke generator, and we'll click on create. So first, let's just create a API that can tell jokes, or a robot that can tell jokes. So for that, the idea was always like, what is the input and what is the output? Like that's all you need to know whenever you write any logic. What is my input and what is my output? So for a joke generator, I don't really have any input. I just have an output called a joke. So I create an output. I'll call it joke. Data type would be text. Now I need something in the middle to tell the joke. So Craftar has a lot of blocks. So everything in Craftar is a block, like a Lego block. And here we have a list of categories. So I can go into fun, and inside fun, there is a joke generator. So I just choose that. And now this block itself has inputs and outputs. So it takes in a category. So the category can be one of these. So I'll just choose fun, and the output is a joke. Right? So I can connect the circles to circles, which is my data, and the triangles represent the order of blocks, like in what order will the logic or current flow through my logic. So I just connect start to enter and exit to end. Nice. So all of my logic starts at the input block and ends at the output block. And in the middle, we can have as many blocks as we want. Awesome. So that's it. So now I can just click on play. So once I play, I can see that we got a joke here. So which part of the hospital has the least privacy? The ICU? Because like ICU. Yeah, okay, awesome. So now what I can do is I'll just click on save, and now I'll click on publish and publish now. Awesome. And now we have an API ready, deployed, scalable, secure, that you can call from any other no-code tool. So we just click on this, and this API runs in the browser as well, and it tells a different joke every time. Awesome. Cool. So that's how like you build APIs or automations in Craftar. So now let's just take it to a slightly more complex level. Instead of a joke generator, we'll do a movie thing, and then we'll go back to our product hunt thing. So there is this, if I can search in my blogs, there's this blog, get movies playing in theaters now. So what this blog does is it'll take an API key of MovieDB. So I already have that key ready. Let me just get it. So you can just register for MovieDB and get the API key. That's all you have to do. We'll get the first page of the movies playing, and we can give all these options, but they are optional. We don't really need to give. So I could just get like movies trending in India, right? Awesome. And now I can click on play. Great. So if I check my results here in the eye icon, you can see we got all the movies, like 20 movies, and I can see like their backdrop. I can open this in a new tab. So we have the image. We also get like the title, overview, and so on, right? So now let's say we only want to build an API where we just get like the overview, the name of the movie, and let's say the rating, right? So we need to do some data transformation on it. And one of the most important parts of any logic or automation is to convert some output to some different input, right? So if I right click and I go to logic, we have helper functions, and we have all these different blocks which help you with data transformation. So what we need is we need to remove things from our results, right? So I'll just connect exit to enter here, and then I'll pass the results to my data, right? And now we can just see what data we need. So we need the original title and we need overview and we need vote_average. So what I'll do, I'll go to this block and I'll define my keys. So I'll just say original_title, overview, and vote_average. Awesome. And now instead of removing, if I set it to true, it will remove. But if I set it to false, it will keep those and remove everything else. So we can just play and test this. So now if I check my trim data here, you can see we got only those 3 keys and everything else was removed. Right. So this is a very simple way of like just cleaning your data and making it ready for what you want. And finally, we just create, we'll change the joke to, let's say, movies. We'll make it a list. And then we'll just connect this. Awesome. And now I can save and publish. Now I have an API which tells me the latest movie playing right now. Right. Again, so like that's how you can connect multiple blocks together and then publish everything as an API. So you can then call this from Zapier, Integromat, Airtable, whatever. Awesome. So any questions till now before I go into the main automation?
It looks amazing, Prabjot. And one thing I was wondering, you connect the triangles and the circles, but you don't connect everything. So there, for example, in the remove keys from list block, there's also keys and remove. So that are just the options. You don't have to connect anything to this from the previous block.
Correct. So anything that you connect will be overwritten by the connection. So whatever data will be in results will be passed to data whenever you play this or whenever it is run. But these things are hard coded. So they are not overwritten. So this is very good for things like keys or like any data that you don't want to change, which is embedded. So one great use case of Craftar is, let's say you have an Airtable base, which has like all these records that you've created manually, but now you want to create an API out of it. But Airtable has an API key which is single, and if it goes away, you give access to everything in your Airtable. So you could just come in here, use the get Airtable records block, and you could type in your key here, hard code it, publish it as an API of Craftar, and then use Craftar's API key. So that way you never reveal your Airtable key. You can go and sell that data as an API, or you can just use it without that security risk of leaking other keys.
Cool.
So
yeah. Interesting. And is there a legenda of the colors of every item? Because bit.
So I can just come in here and go to colors, and you can see the colors. After like 3 or 4 uses, you'll just get used to it. But mostly same color connects to same color, except for any. Any is just like it can connect to anything. So it helps with certain use cases.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Cool. So now I'll go back and we'll just build our product hunt use case. So I click on create new API. We'll call it PH newsletter and click on create. Awesome. So we always start with inputs and outputs. So the first thing we need is let's just get data from product hunt. So all automations when we build, we should always build it iteratively and not overwhelm. So I'll just search for RSS. So we get this block. So this block takes in a URL. So I'll just get my RSS feed URL for product hunt. And RSS is really useful. So if you, give me 1 second. Yeah, so this is my product hunt RSS. So it's like very hard. It's like XML and like it's not that straightforward to read, but you don't really need to worry about it. You just copy this here, paste the URL here, and just click on play. And this block automatically converts that into a list of JSON, which is easy to read. So we get like title of the product, we get description, we get link, snippet, ID, and date, right? And if you go and search for awesome RSS feed, awesome RSS GitHub, So here you'll see like RSS feeds that are available. It used to be one of the most important things. Now it's just like not that popular, but uh, this, so you can pretty much bring all of news sites data, and I'll show you an example of how to get data from Wall Street Journal, CNBC, and then create like a news aggregator newsletter. So every day you could just curate website data from all of these countries. So if I go to India, we have BBC News, Guardian, Times of India. I could just build an automation where I curate data from all these 10 news sites, type in my, let's say, Elon Musk newsletter, right? So what is all of these newsletters talking about Elon Musk? And that goes out every day, right? I mean, like the opportunities are just like infinite here. Awesome. So now we have product hunt data. So we got like, I think 50 items. So next step is, we have to think about like what kind of newsletter we are creating. So let's say you want to create a crypto newsletter. So we'll look at this block. So there's this whole category of algorithms. And inside this, there is natural language processing. And we have all of these blocks that are given out of the box. So here we have a block called search a list. So this does smart search. It will basically do what Google does. It will give you a rank for each item in a list. So I'll just connect this, exit to enter, articles go to data. And now in search text, I'll type my search. So we'll just write crypto. And so next we have to fill key in data to search, right? So if I look at my articles, I have to tell it what to search in. So description seems like the most verbose, so we'll get better results. So I'll just type in description here. Awesome. And now I can just play. Cool. So now if I open my results, rank list with scores, so I get a score for each item. So this product is CoinSwitch Pro. So it ranked the highest. And there is no other product that day for crypto. So crypto has been on the down lately. So it's like just one product for crypto. So yeah, that's a good indication also if my newsletter has only one item. But yeah, okay, I'll change it to something else. So we'll just do our own thing, no code and automation. And then we'll play again. Okay, nice. So we get Marco Polo AI, we get Tracardi, automate customer journey, and so on. And there is this list, rank list with non-zero scores. So this list will have all the products, but with non-zero scores, right? So we got 2 items for this. So that's still better. Okay. What we can also do is like, let's say we'll also add automate here. No code, meet and automation. Let's see. Okay, so this is good. 4 is good. That's good for the newsletter. Awesome. So we got like 4 different articles, and we also get like the best match separately. Okay. So next step is to actually generate the newsletter. So I'll just search for newsletter here. So we have 2 templates now. I'll add more templates soon, and there's also like a system that will be there. So you can pretty much decide, okay, you can build rows of data. So you could, let's say, get data from Hacker News, and then that is one row. You could get data from Twitter, that is another row, get data from Proton, that is another row, and then stack them. So you could build like these modular newsletters on the fly, but that's coming in like, I think post launch, it will be there. But for now, we'll just use this one, newsletter curation 2. Now this needs items. And if I read my description here, it needs a list of items. But in my output here, we have items inside our list. Like, so it needs a list of these data, but we also have score here. So that's very easy. We'll just search for extract all values by key name. So what this block does, it takes in a list. So we'll pass this list here, and it takes in a item. So properties item. So, and now let's just play. It's like for these blocks, it's always better if you can just play them, see what it gives. And then over time, you just get used to what is the best one for each. Okay. So now I get the actual list out instead, like I've removed my score and I've just like aggregated all the items together. Awesome. So that's it. So now this values, I can just pass to items in my newsletter and connect this. Also, my newsletter needs some extra things. So we'll call it automation daily number one. We'll say your daily automation product newsletter. We'll give our logo. So I'll just copy my URL here. And then you can say Craftar and unsubscribe. We'll just give the same URL, but add unsubscribe after it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, cool. That's all good. And now I'll just click on play again. Awesome. And you can see we got the whole HTML of our newsletter ready. So that's good. Now we just need to, let's say, send it to Mailchimp. So I'll search for Mailchimp, or I can go to integrations. So we have all these integrations already there. I'll just click on Mailchimp templates, Mailchimp add template. So I'll just connect enter to here. HTML goes to this port. And then in my name, we just need to give a name for our template. So I'll say automation weekly. And then Mailchimp prefix. So if I go to Mailchimp, you have this domain name prefix here. So they have like different servers across regions. So they expect you to give that here. And we need API key. So for that, you can go to settings from here, account and billing, go to extras, API keys, and then this is my API key. And we'll paste it here, and that's it. There's a way to create folders in your templates, and then you can assign different templates in folders, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just put it here. And now I can connect exit to end and just play again. Awesome. So we'll refresh. Okay, so we have our automation weekly here, and it has all the 4 products that we extracted. And now what we have to do is just click here, create campaign, and then just send it to our list. So that's how we and we can do this so we can connect because we just save, we can click on publish now. And now this is an API. What we can do is if we go to Airtable, we can schedule, okay, every Monday at 9 a.m. call this API, create a newsletter template automatically. And then we just go at 10 p.m. to our Mailchimp and just send out a newsletter. So I think newsletter is one of those things which you should never end-to-end automate. You should always have a manual step before sending out emails because things can go really wrong. So that's how I would do it. But I mean, if you want to automate end-to-end, that's an option. Awesome. So now instead of this, I could use Mailgun as well. So I'll just show that now. So I'll search for Mailgun. There's a block Mailgun send email. So this is a huge block, but most of the properties are optional, and there'll be documentation, so it's easy to understand what's where. So I'll just give my Mailgun user ID. Then in Mailgun, if I go to my Mailgun, I can just go to settings, API keys. And from there, it's already there. So API security and private API key. So I'll just copy this. Then domain. So whenever you create an account on Mailgun, you have to connect your domain with it. So it sends email from your domain. So in my case, it is hive.cx. And then if you are in Europe, then you'll have to use this one. Otherwise, api.mailgun.net. And then from you can give anything. So I'll give Craftar, and then I can use this support at craftar.io. And then 2, I can add any number of emails. So I'll just type my own. And I can also send it to one of you, but That's an option if you want to see the newsletter, but okay, cool. And then I can just type my subject. So automation daily. Nice. And now I just need to connect my HTML to this and done. And now I'll just connect exit to output and click play. Okay, so we got our newsletter, automation daily, and we have all these things. Awesome. So yeah, we built the whole automation now. So that is, so any questions up till this point, and then I'll show something cool after this.
Yeah, really impressive. Yeah, and I always love the animations running through the flow. I saw someone else already mentioning it too. It's great.
Can you also, so now you send your data to the newsletter, but can you also send it to an Airtable base so that you have the the product and tools in your email, but also in an Airtable database so that you can make a directory out of it or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to show next. Okay, awesome. Cool. So good that you asked the question. We'll do it now. So instead of like doing it here, we are like already done with, we have played too much with PowerPoint. Let's just do something else. So I have this other automation. It's pretty similar till here. So this block connects to Wall Street Journal RSS feed. And this block connects to CNBC RSS feed. So before I kind of do everything, we'll just see what each block gives. So we'll just call this. And we can see we got Wall Street articles here. And we can go and actually open this article. Right. So we are actually getting the article data here. So we get like 25 articles from Wall Street Journal, and we get like 29 articles from CNBC. So now we can combine them. So there is this block add items to end of list. So it's used to combine two list of data. So we'll give original list here, and we'll give Wall Street Journal data here. And now if I check my new list, click on play. So now I get like all my 56 articles. Awesome. So now instead of like sending the newsletter and going through this flow, we can skip this. And I have another flow hidden here, which I pre-made. Okay, so the only things that are connected are actually published. So you can keep building all of these things, and then you can switch them out, or you can create new flows. But yeah, so what this block does again, so it extracts, so from this data, if I look at it, I have all of this data, but what I'm doing interesting here is I'm also extracting keywords. So let me actually skip that now and just show a simpler version first. Let's go. I don't need this. I'll do it from scratch. Okay. So we have these RSS feeds. We combine them into a single article. I'll search for Airtable. So we can also go to databases. So we have Airtable right now. We also have Notion integration, but there'll be more coming. But for now, it's just Airtable. So we need to add records to Airtable. So there's a block for that. So if you're going to add records, you need the base ID and the table ID. So there is an easy way. So I'll just open my Airtable here. We'll go here. I'll create a new base. We'll call it news aggregator. Awesome. So for if you look at our actual data, so each of our item has these keys. So we'll create columns out of them in Airtable. So if I go to Airtable, I'll call this title. This will be description. I'll delete these. The next one is link. So this is of type URL, create field. Next is snippet. So this will be long text. And finally, we have date. But this date is actually a single line text. Cool. So so we have our data ready now in Airtable. We'll just copy our URL from top. So our Airtable URL actually contains all the things we need. So this is the base ID, this is the table ID, and this is the view ID. So we just need to copy this URL. And this block takes that URL and automatically extract those three values. So I'll connect it here. And then after we get that data, we'll connect base ID to base in our add it records to Airtable, table ID to table. And then we need records to add. So this is all the data that we have received. So we'll connect this here. And now we need API key. So I'll go to my Airtable account and I'll copy my key. Awesome. And now we can just play. So you can see we received those three values. And we got all our data in Airtable. Awesome. So now this data can be hard to search through. Like you would have to read all of this, which is like hard. And the goal here is like to manually curate it. So we are basically we get data, we put it in Airtable, and then we'll manually go through that data and curate it and see what we want to send in our next edition. We'll create a separate view out of it. And then we'll create a separate API, which takes data from that curated view and sends out a newsletter. Right. So let's build that flow. But to do that, we need some sort of analytics to be done on this data. So we'll automatically extract keywords, right? So let's see how that works. There's a lot of NLP and text analysis stuff already there. So to do that, let's just see on what we'll extract data. So we'll extract keywords from description. So I'll right click, go to algorithms NLP, and there is this block, which is extract keywords from list of text, right? So we'll just connect exit to enter, new list to text. It takes a list of text, but you have to actually extract description first. So extract all values by key name, connect this. So it takes in the property description and we just play it. Okay, so you can see we got only the descriptions now. Now this we can pass to our NLP block, text, and we can choose a language. In this case, it's English. And we want to keep numbers. Yeah, allow duplicates. No, we don't really want to add duplicates. So all that is good. We'll make some space and now let's just play. Okay, and now I can see the list of keywords for each text. So for the first text, we got all these keywords. For the second text, we got all of this, and so on. So this will allow us to choose easily what we want to curate. So what we'll do, we'll go back to Airtable and we'll create a new column. We'll call it keywords. And this will be a multiple select. So I'll just create my field. And we'll delete all the data we have right now. Okay. And now what we can do, we need to combine. So this is still like this has this keywords column. So we need to combine this with our original data. So what we can do, there's another block for it. So yeah. So what this block does, we'll give it the original data new list in data one, and then we'll give it this keywords data. So let's just play and need to make space.
How many different blocks do you already have, Prabjot?
Like 500, but by the end of the year, we'll have 5,000.
Wow, you've been productive.
Yeah. So yeah, so you can see now we got our original data, but we also got keywords attached to it, right? So this block basically takes in two lists, and then for each key, it'll combine in that list automatically. No, you don't have to even worry about how it's doing or whatever. Awesome. So now we have the data. Now we'll just push it to Airtable. So we should actually remove some of these things. And we'll just pass our final data to records to add and just play. Awesome. So we got all record, but we also got the keywords now. It will automatically fill that. And now what we'll do is we'll create a new view. We'll call it curated newsletter, or we'll just call it new number one. And inside filter, we'll add condition and we'll say keywords and then has any of. So here we are creating Elon Musk newsletter. So we'll search for Elon Musk and we can choose only those keywords. So that's good. Then what we can do is we'll search for Twitter. So we'll choose those as well. And then we can search for Tesla. So there's that Tesla as well. And maybe social media also. Okay, awesome. So we got like these articles which are curated now, and they are in this view. So now we'll copy this view URL and we'll save this and we'll go back. We'll create a new API, call it newsletter from manual curation. So now I'll just go to my databases, Airtable, get Airtable config from URL. We paste our URL of our new view here. We'll do get Airtable records this time. So we'll just connect this, connect exit to enter, base ID to base, table ID to table, and view ID to view ID. We'll also give the number of records. So we'll just give 15. That's the max records you can get. And we need the API key. So I'll copy that. And now we can play. Okay. So we got all the data in our Airtable in Craftar in this API. So now what we can do is just go to our newsletter curation. We'll connect exit to enter. We'll pass the records to our items and we can give it some data. So we'll say Elon Musk roundup, newsletter about which is man shenanigans or whatever. And then we'll just give a logo. Okay, and finally we need our Mailgun block. Right, from Craftar. Okay, cool. And now I can just play. Oh, something failed. Okay, so when something failed, you can see an error and we can see. So what is wrong? Oh, there's a space here. Okay. Nice. So we got our Elon Musk roundup and all the news from Wall Street Journal that he curated. And this will take us to that specific site. Awesome. And now, like, this is the setup, right? So like it took some time, like it took 15 minutes to build this, but now if you just save and publish as an API, so now this is available as an API and our previous thing is also available as an API. So what I can do, I can now create these inside Airtable. I can take Crafter inside Airtable. So if I go to Airtable and automations, so what I can do is add trigger, add schedule time, and then I can say, okay, every seventh day at, let's say, 1 a.m., go and do some action. Now, Airtable doesn't have a native API action for whatever reason they decided, but you have run script in the pro version. So this will work only in the pro version, but like you can use Integromat and there are other ways to schedule it. But you would basically run this API every 7 days and you would fill this data grid view, right? And then you would go to the process of filtering, creating a new view and get to this point. And then you would go and either play that manually for that new view, or you would just create an API and call it. So to do that, you would need to give it a different URL. So here, what I can do in the other one. Yeah. So the only different thing each week would be the actual view URL that we are giving, right? So I'll create an input called as URL, type text, and connect this URL dynamically to my Airtable config. So each week I can give it a different view, right? This API, and then I can pretty much like automate everything. So as soon as my curation is done, I press a play button, pass it that new URL, and now it just sends out the newsletter. So yeah, that's the that's like 2 ways of doing this. So awesome. Yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything. So we can go to Q&A, or I can show some other cool stuff. Either ways.
Great job. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey Pablo.
Yeah, it's great to see you. So, well, you've shown me Craftar before, and every time I see it, you've added more cool stuff, more blogs and everything, right? So my question is around, like, obviously Craftar has a lot of capabilities, so many that you just don't know upfront what's possible. Like if you will go to explore the full library of blogs, you will just spend lots of time, trying to understand what's possible. So my question is, how would you recommend for someone to start learning what they can build with Craftar, or what they can, how they can create their own APIs? Because I don't know, I'm guessing that you kind of want to compete in some manner with tools like, or platforms like Postman, which is another way for, dealing with APIs. But I guess it's just, how would you approach as, someone that is just getting started with this? How would you recommend to learn this process of creating automations and APIs?
So I started something called as like 100 days of automation, inspired by 100 days of no code.
Yeah,
So
I've seen it on LinkedIn.
So the idea there was just to educate people on how to use Craftar. Like, what would you do on day 1? What would you do on day 2? So it was an exploration for me as well, like to explore the breadth and like the complexity of use cases. So there's already like 27 automations, and then people started asking for like access. So I just like, okay, if I launch and then I'll continue with it. So you can see like all the automations you can build. So you can automatically generate PPTs with this. we also have a Chrome extension over here. So you can go to Twitter and extract all the tweets and then send it to an EPN crafter and push it to Airtable. You can extract YouTube transcripts. So yeah, there's like lots that we can do with the Chrome extension and this. So there are a lot of examples of that. You can create an info product totally. So what I did is like I went to Twitter, searched for cheat sheets. I got like a huge feed of cheat sheets. People just keep sharing those. So I just pressed a button, collected all of that in Airtable and just put it on Gumroad in 5 minutes. So you could create like info products. You could use like there's a way to build landing pages. So what the use case would be, you basically create your own software. Let's say you have to build your own no-code tool, which lets you create websites, right? Other people. So you would, so there are these blocks in Craftar. So this.
Yeah, but I remember that you posted this visual kind of a framework for, and it's kind of a step prior to starting playing with different tools and automation, which was the concept or the problem that you're trying to figure out or solve with automations, and how then I think it was like 3 or 4 steps in total, but how you end with connecting APIs or creating a UX for creating automations. I remember that framework felt really like made good sense, and I don't know if you have that, but I think it would be a great framework to start educating your users on how to approach Craftar.
Yeah, I think everybody comes up with their own kind of problems that they have right now. So you always start with that. So like people say, okay, can you build this? Can I build this? So we always help them out initially. And then once they kind of build that, they understand the mechanics of, okay, I can create this block and connect that. And then they right click and then they're able to explore, okay, can I add this as well? Right? Oh, can I do this? Oh, I can also send this data to Bubble. Right? So, and that's when like the exploration starts. And then like a new world opens up because I think, I think the whole idea is like I explained in this slide. So this is like a generic way of thinking about it. So you find out your data sources. It could be manual, it could be something you created, it could be through an API, RSS feed, whatever. Then you clean, combine, and transform that data to whatever is needed for your future blocks. Then there's some logic layer, right? So you could run algorithms, you could extract information, you could do AI. There's an AI image generation block. You could, I mean, like tons of opportunities in the logic part. Then there is output. So your output could be a PDF, it could be a newsletter, it could be a website, it could be just like a data going back to another server. So you could check. So everything that you can do in Zapier is like take data from something and put data somewhere else, right? And that's what is being termed as automation, which is like a very minimal way to think about automation, is like, hey, data syncing. But there's like a tons of things you can do across the whole layer. You could auto-generate visualizations. So, I mean, the whole world opens up, but you have to start where the user is coming from, because then they feel like their problem is solved. So,
yeah. Thanks.
One thing I was wondering about, Prabjot, when you you said you could connect this as an API to other tools. For example, you mentioned via Make or Zapier, even I think, with data, because I'm not familiar with that. With data from Craftar, would you need to use it somewhere else? So if you go to the output of one of your automations,
you just go to product. So when you publish, so here you have all the data you need to connect it to other tools. So this is the API key for your specific logic. You have the post call. So there are 2 endpoints. You can do get call or a post call. You have the headers, authorization token, content type, and then the body, right? And then there's the URL that you need to call. So this is a post call, and this, when you click on this, you get the get call here. So you can just copy this URL and call it from any of those services, and then you can you get this output in that service. So what we are also working on, and like for some tools, we'll just build it. So for Bubble, you're building a plugin. Airtable also, we are building an app. So within Airtable, you just give your key. You just come in here, give your key. You don't have to worry about all of this. And you'll start seeing your data in Airtable and Bubble. But for other tools where it's just, they don't allow that ecosystem, they don't allow you to build plugins, we'll have to do like some sort of partnership there. But like ideally you would drop in your key there, you would see in a drop down all your Craftar flows, you just select and it's done. So you never even have to worry about APIs. Like the concept of API can go away from no code. People build logic and then they use logic wherever they want to take it. Like reusable logic is how you're thinking.
Yeah, awesome. I can also imagine that once that is possible, that you can set up like these all kind of advanced automations and things for people as a service. Like people ask you, like we were working on something in Craftar earlier. Like people ask you, hey, Prabjot, can you help me to automate this? And then you just can implement it in your Airtable with only that key or something.
Yeah.
That's also, if people find it too difficult to set this up in Craftar, that someone like you or a Craftar expert can help people with. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and basically you can combine. You have 500 blocks, and you can combine them all in all possible ways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have this thing on our website where like this is launching soon, this website not there, but like all the blocks are here. So you could come in and search, like, so there are Slack blocks, Notion blocks. So you can get an idea of like what is available, and we'll keep updating this list. So without even like going into our dashboard or something, you can just see what is possible with Craftar.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I saw in the chat that Fausto already mentioned he had some great ideas coming from this session. Not sure if you can speak at this moment, Fausto, but what's one of them?
It's just directly generating a niche newsletter, like related to my day job here in Brazil. Like I work advising members of parliament on energy policy. And it's a pretty complicated topic, but that it's you really need to be updated with what's on the news. It's one of the dimensions that you need to follow. So if I had just an automated tool to build a newsletter or even a database that I could curate from, like you have showed, it would be really valuable, I think. Just adding to that, not directly answering the question you did, Harold. I think like because of the power and the complexity of the tool, like it's pretty critical, I think, to build media, explaining the use cases and how to do stuff, like as Pablo was saying, as you already been doing with the 100 days of automation. So congrats and great work, and thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you so much for like listening patiently, and like I think like the use case is pretty awesome for energy. I think, yeah, like you could just choose and slice and dice data by any topic. So I think that's totally a cool use case. And like charts, so like charts are coming, so you just don't just curate, you can also do data visualization. So like you can auto generate. There's a automation I built for like comparing football player stats, Messi and Ronaldo on the radar chart. So that's there on YouTube. But I think like end-to-end data pipelines is like get data, clean data, run some compute on data, visualize data, and then output data somewhere else. That's how like that's like a data science 101. Any data pipeline looks like that, and that's where you want to go. It's like you can just build data pipelines.
Yeah, it would be great to see a World Cup automation project.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Kat,
I would love that.
Yeah, you too. Kat, does it give you any inspiration for your newsletters?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe for a no-code acquire, where I scrape the data from acquisition platforms, and then I do the curation myself in Airtable. And the idea there was also to send an automated newsletter based on that data in Airtable. So maybe I could do it with Craftar, but I'm not sure if I could get it working. It seems a little bit difficult for my level of experience.
Right. Like we can help. Like we have a Discord community. So if you just like when I launch, it'll be active. So if you just come in there, like we have tutorials for every block in the works. So over time we'll keep releasing. So the blocks which are most popular, like they will get priority. So yeah, like we're ready to we're willing to help you build stuff.
Okay. Yeah, but
so
it's really impressive to see it in action and to see what all is possible. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great, Prabjot. So rooting for Craftar for your launch in a few weeks. So yeah, great.
Sure.
Yeah, make sure to share with us when it's publicly launched in the community on Slack and of course on Twitter you will share it. So it's great. Thanks for showing this magic and this example. And yeah, I'm curious if anyone from here or from the recording, watching the recording, is going to play with this. Let us know on Slack. Thanks, Prabjot. Good luck. And next week we have our next How I Built This session with Colleen, who's also a creator in residence. It's going to show how you can build membership site with MemberStack and Webflow. So there's also another tool, also very interesting. So I'd love to welcome everyone there. Again, next week, same time, 7 p.m. London time. And yeah, another great session. So thanks for joining all and watching this recording, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Harold.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.